Well, good morning. Welcome to Emerson Institute at City of Light. I'm Reverend Dr. Paul Gretz, and it's a delight to welcome you to our campus located at 3125 Presidential Parkway here in Atlanta, Georgia. Today's class is The Prospering Power of Love. It's based on a book by Catherine Ponder, and this is an 8-week class for 2 credits if you're taking it for credit towards a degree program through the Emerson Institute at City of Light. Now, these classes are offered for you for your spiritual enrichment. You can audit them, you can just listen along and enjoy them for your spiritual enrichment, or of course you can enroll and take them for credit. As you are seeking a degree, well, we're going to help you along that pathway of achieving the goal of your bachelor's or your master's or a doctorate of divinity or religious or spiritual studies. The choices are yours, and we offer some great options that just are all about empowering you to live your highest and best through the power of wisdom and education. We're coming to you live from the Dr. Angelo Pizzello Wisdom Center here at City of Light. This is an incredible facility that is offering volumes of great wisdom. There are over 4,000 books in a lending library, one of the largest metaphysical lending libraries in the United States. And this is a great resource center and event center where we're also hosting all kinds of classes, workshops, and having a great learning environment for anyone who comes by. Now, in the future, after this COVID-19 pandemic has subsided a little bit more, of course, we're going to be more open on regular hours where you can come by, check out books, and just do some personal study or reading right here at the Dr. Angelo Pizzello Wisdom Center. But know that this resource is available for you. If you're looking for books right now, just reach out to me at my website, or reach out to me at my email address, I should say, at revtpaul@aol.com. And let me know of your interest, and we'll make sure that we can set up an appointment for you to come and check out books for your spiritual enrichment. Well, if we're ready to begin today's class, let's prepare our lives by just doing some breath work. We're going to breathe in our nose and just capture some great fresh air, hold it for a moment, then release out all stress and tension that we may be holding within our body. And as we do, we reset our frequency and just allow ourselves to be more in tune with this moment, to the now, to this very moment of God's great blessings within our life. So let's breathe together. Breathe in and release. Deep breath in. Release. Deep breath in and release. And in a moment of silence, please set your intention for that which you desire to transpire in your life during this time that we share together. What would you like to receive? What would you like to achieve? What would you like to experience? And so it is. Well, this is class number 5, and it's on the chapter Special Methods of Love, Stage 1 and Stage 2. We're going to cover 2 chapters today as we move a little bit more aggressively through our textbook. We want to make sure that we can complete everything within an 8-week series for your study. And we are looking at these 2 chapters, which I think go beautifully hand in hand. Special Methods of Love. Now, one of the basic teachings of truth is that all environments, circumstances, and conditions that we are experiencing existed first as ideas in our own mind, either consciously or subconsciously. So you may have had an idea in mind about meeting someone. You may have had an idea in mind about a certain career path. You may have had an idea in mind consciously or subconsciously about a particular experience that you are going through right now. But you held that thought in mind previously, and it started there. It began there. So one of the great secrets of love is to learn then how to clear disharmonious ideas from our mind. Things that may have created more challenge in the journey of our life, in relationships and in experiences. We want to remove these ideas, and we want to allow harmony to be experienced in all of our relationships and everything that we're doing. So we want to learn how to just clear out any kind of ideas that may be creating experiences, maybe creating conditions in our life that are not productive or not really in line with our highest and best. So what we want to do is work with our own thinking first and foremost. So if you deal in the right way with your own thinking, the people around you are either going to move into right conditions and you'll either experience them in your presence, they'll be with you, or they're going to be moving out of your life. So what's happening is, as you begin to deal with your own thinking, you're going to be shaping the circumstances and the conditions of your life and your experiences. And you're going to be, by those thoughts, influencing and touching the lives of others. That brings about influence for change. So when we think about, let's deal with our own thinking. There's been times when I have encountered people that have been either rude, negative, arrogant, maybe people who've just had the great intention in life to say, I'm here just to say no to everything you do, Pastor, because I think you get too many people saying yes, and you're getting your way too often, and I'm here to just be a church antagonist, you might say. Well, as we change our own thinking, not in an aggressive thinking of saying, oh boy, I hope that something bad happens to this person, but know that great love and blessing falls upon that person, because the reason that they are negative in the first place, the reason that they're coming from this almost oppressive or attack mode in looking at life is because they're wounded and hurt and they're going through some frustrations themselves. So we want to change our thinking from thinking in some way that they've come to our life to cause harm, but no, they've come to our life for us to help heal them and to help minister to them. So even though they come with their words that are wounding or their words that are hurting, they've come for a purpose. So we want to change our thinking about them, and we begin to bless them. We begin to bless them. This is why Scripture talks about praying for your enemies and how beautiful that is. Because what happens is we change our thinking about the people around us. What happens then is the circumstances and conditions began to move in a new direction. And I found that many times, either that person found a personal healing that I was able to help facilitate and work within that changed their demeanor, changed their outlook, or something happened where they were so blessed mightily, they got a career change and they moved away and left the church. And so they moved on to another experience in another city. So I have found that this to be so true, that if we deal with our own thinking first and foremost, that we're going to have a great impact upon the conditions and experiences of the world. So we begin to thinking, and rather than reacting in a way that's negative to anything someone has said, because remember, one of the rule of thumb, if you've read the book, The Four Agreements, is never take anything personally. Because what people say has more to do with what they're thinking and where they are than it has anything to do with you. So just know that some people may be having a horrible day, and because they're having a horrible day, they feel like they need to vent that anger, frustration, and they want to vent it on you. But remember, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with what they're going through. So for us to respond in a way that's negative towards that would be counterproductive. Instead, we hear their words or negativity, they attack, or there are things that they may say that seem very wounding to our lives. We don't receive them. We just don't welcome them. What happens when someone offers a gift and you don't take it? What happens to the gift? They're stuck with it, right? So if you don't receive the words that someone is saying, if you don't embrace them in some way, well, what happens is, they're stuck with the very words that they've just said. I've shared this illustration numerous times in classes, but years ago, I was walking down the street and someone began to yell across the street, "Hey, faggot, you little sissy boy. Hey, you faggot, you queer." And I just heard them yelling out these derogatory terms, and I just smiled and walked across the street and said, "You bet. I'm one of the best faggots you've ever met in life. I'm one of the best sissy boys you've ever seen, and I am one of the greatest queers. And I want to introduce myself. I'm Paul Gretz." And whoa. They were like, well, and I said, something about you? You've got some great gaydar. Something tells me about you that there's something special, because if you could acknowledge my feminine side as well as my masculine side, you've got some great insight. Whoa, I don't have any insight. No, I don't have any gaydar. No. And before you know it, because I wasn't receiving his words, I wasn't receiving the wounding he wanted to cause in my life, he was the one stuck with the wounding. He was the one stuck with the words of harm that he wanted to share or bring about on someone else's life. So it's all it comes down to when we work with our own thinking. When we start there, our response to anything in life, conditions or people, anything that's going on, we begin to think, wait a minute, how am I going to respond to this? Let me respond from love. Let me respond from love. Because anytime someone's saying something that's hurtful or wounding to you, just remember, hurting people are hurting others. So we want to address that hurting person with incredible love and just minister to the wounds that are in their lives and just let the love be that healing balm that comes upon their life that just helps to soothe and transform their journey and their individual life. What happens then, it's going to change the experience and change the conditions in your life as well. So what we want to express is the importance of beginning with our own thinking, because everything we're going through started in some thought or idea that we held in mind. So when someone says something that's wounding, we come up with an idea, oh, I want revenge, or I want to get back at him, or I'll tell him, I'll give him a piece of my mind, or I'm going to fight, or I'm going to really create more negative energy and just let it escalate. You see, those thoughts then create the conditions and the experiences that we really don't want. So when we stop and pause, take a deep breath and say, how do I minister in this scenario the very love of the divine, love of God? Because that's what's needed in this moment, first and foremost. So here's a special order for getting our thinking to move into divine order, a special method for us. The author is bringing this out for us. That's a great insight and a great tool to use in our day-to-day journey. Because this method that he's offering, or she's offering, I should say, is actually a method that can add years to our life, because it's going to relieve us of the unnecessary worry and friction that we are constantly experiencing and engaging, and unfortunately, constantly welcoming. Welcoming stress, welcoming worry, welcoming fear, welcoming all these things that we really don't want, but we're welcoming them, so we want to change our thinking and move it into divine order, meaning right thinking, righteousness, as the scripture called it. And we're going to move into right thinking and thinking from the God perspective, thinking from the divine perspective, and that how we might really minister, because we're all called to minister. Now somebody said, wait a minute, I'm called a minister. I'm not a minister. I haven't studied. I'm not a professional clergyman. I'm not, that's not my call. Oh, wait a minute. We're all called to minister to one another. That ministry is to be a light onto someone else's pathway. That's our calling. So each and every one of us is a light, and we're each illuminating the pathway for someone else. Have you ever been to those places where, lights, motion sensors go on, where as you move down the pathway, this light comes on, move a little further, another light comes on, you move a little bit further, another light comes on. Before you know it, as you're walking, lights are going boom, 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 boom. They're all lighting up as you go. That's sort of the journey of our life. We're all wonderful lights, and we're called to minister. We're called to be a light for the world. We're called to shine and to illuminate the pathway for others in all ways that we can. So this is going to help us be a minister of healing, being a facilitator of well-being, being a facilitator of health and wholeness, of success and prosperity. We're going to be that light of that as we share the power and prosperity of amazing love and moving ourselves into divine order, our thinking moving now into divine order. Now, here's how it works. The author is offering us this idea. First of all, let us understand that true words, or words of truth, words that are founded and grounded deep within love, are like an angel. What is an angel? An angel is a messenger from God, a divine message. Any kind of divine message that's coming to you is this angel experience. I know a lot of us are looking for that physical idea of an angel, literalism, and we're thinking, oh my Lord, I want to see this white-robed winged angel with golden hair landing in my house and just saying, blessed are thou amongst people. Yea, verily, you will be born. You will give birth to a child. Oh, wait a minute. No, we don't necessarily want that. But, we want some angel experience, right? We want something like we've seen written in the Bible. But all of that is symbolic of this wonderful angel experience that you can have on a day-to-day basis. That's being in tune to the divine messages that are coming to us. That angel being this energy of thought, this message coming from the divine source that comes to us with great inspiration and guidance, insight that keeps us safe, protects us, watches over us, all these kind of things that we look forward as we think of in a physical context of a guardian angel. That's truly what it is the words of truth, words of love, words of guidance that are there founded in truth. So truth words or words of truth are really an angel. When we speak angelic sounds and speak angelic words when we're speaking words of truth, because they are divine messages for one another. They are divine messages that help us understand more and more this loving presence of God here with us, never leaving us nor forsaking us. And that true words are aligned with good. True words, meaning words of truth, words that are founded and grounded in truth, are aligned with all good, and what's going to happen is they're going to produce more good. They're going to produce more good. So when we're speaking in ways that are loving, affirming, positive, uplifting, encouraging, we are just using the angelic voice. We are being messengers of God. We are helping one another to receive that divine message that's coming from our ultimate source of this universe, this source of infinite possibilities. So begin by thinking of the person that you are working with or concerned about as having an angel themselves or a higher self to whom you could write. So what's suggesting here is almost like a scripting exercise, because this is really powerful in helping someone who maybe cannot reason or doesn't respond to the usual manners of creating harmony. Have you ever encountered those kind of people where you could say, oh, honey, let me help you. Let me explain. Let me help you understand. I didn't mean to hurt you. Oh, yes, you did. Of course you did. And I don't want to hear from you. And I don't want to hear anything more. I'm so mad and I'm so upset. I'm going to walk away right now. We've all had these kind of experiences. We're trying to work with someone, deal with someone, and they're just closed down. They're not ready to receive any kind of things that's coming directly from you. And the normal modes of, or usual manners of finding healing and harmony are not working for you. Okay? We've all had those experiences. Maybe you've had them as a parent with your children during their teen years where they're so frustrated, so mad because they're going through some things in their own life. Or maybe you've had these experiences with coworkers where they're feeling their own insecurities and they're speaking out ill towards you and you can't seem to find any harmony. Maybe you've had this experience with a spouse, a partner, a lover, whatever it may be, or a good friend. And something's happened and it's created some division, some sort of separation, something, a falling out that you've experienced. And you're trying your best to rebuild that bridge and it doesn't seem to be working. Well, here's this method that really is a special method that, number one, it's working with getting ourselves, our own individual thinking, into divine order. And it's a ministering tool to be that radiating light that goes out, that touches the life of others in a powerful way. So what she's suggesting as the author is that there's something about the written word of truth. And truth being that which is true throughout the ages. Truth is grounded in love. Truth is words of love. Truth is words that build up and encourage and edify the body. So something that's written about the word of truth that reaches to the center of a reasonable person. When you write it down, you're writing something out. What happens is you are doing something within your thinking as you begin to write this. Kind of like journaling something. You know how it is when you write something in your journal? You kind of get your thoughts and you put them on paper. Because sometimes in life, we've got a lot of thoughts going out. We go, wait. I need to sort through these thoughts. I need to clean them out. Say, what does I really believe? What does I really want to express? What does I really want to say? So let me take a moment and write them down. It's really good, even as a pastor. There's a lot of things I want to tell you. A lot of things I want to say on a Sunday morning. But I realize, wait, I've only got a certain time limit. And I need to keep to a certain theme and make sure that my thoughts are all directed in a certain direction to help you understand a spiritual truth. So I write notes. I write notes to keep me on course and kind of clear out, because, I'd love to teach you about healing, and I'd love to teach you about love, and I'd love to teach you about manifestation, and I'd love to teach you about abundance and prosperity. I got thoughts all over the place. Well, let's just hone them and bring them in and sort of put them down on paper. So writing down the truth, writing down words of truth, is going to help you, and it's going to help that person, and I'll explain more. Because what happens is you're going to write these things down about that person, the healing you desire, the blessing you desire for that person, the prosperity you desire for that person, the sense of forgiveness or love that you're desiring for that person. What's happening is helping you get past emotional blocks that may have risen up in your own life. If you've had a falling out, if you had a disagreement, there's a lot of things that want to rise up in our own life that aren't necessarily positive. As we begin to think about it, we think, well, I'm better than that person. How dare they kind of think this way? I'll just write them off. Or we might think, they're just an idiot. They're so stupid. They're just, foolish. And we may have all those kind of attitudes about it. And we may try to struggle with saying, I just don't get why they don't understand what I'm thinking, and they can't receive this. I want to shake them, Well, these are all those human emotions we have. We want to get past those human emotions. And we want to release these things that are like emotional blocks to the ministering work that we want to do, the healing work that we want to do in building relationships. And we want to start by writing these things out, because they're going to help us move beyond any kind of emotional ego of ourselves, any kind of emotional feelings, any kind of resentment or hurt feelings that we may have that are blocking the flow of divine love. Now, in this method of writing to a person's angel or higher self, so you're going to write to, John Doe's higher self. Maybe you and John Doe have had a falling out. You've got some disagreements, some problems. Maybe there's some disharmony in your relationship. You and Susan Jones, whatever it may be, whoever that person is, I'm giving you some generic names. You're writing to that person's higher self, the angel, shall we say. When you're doing this, number one of the things that's really helping you is you're feeling like you've been heard. What do we want in life? Well, as we're going through things, we just want to be heard. Someone just acknowledge, yes, I heard you. As a pastor dealing with so many people who go through a lot of life's challenges, and they're facing so many pains in their life, they just sometimes want to vent, And quite often we think as ministers, I need something eloquent to say. And so while they're talking, you're like taking notes. Okay, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say that. And you're like, oh, that's the wrong thing to do. My job is to just listen. Not formulate ideas, but just to be a listening. And many times the healing happens when you just say, thank you. I just want to know I heard you. And sometimes that's just so healing, to know that someone has heard us as we vented, cried, expressed our wounds, going through our own individual pains. And we don't really even need someone to say anything. We just want to know that we've been heard. I have to say personally, in my own life, dealing with my husband's death, which is drawing closer and closer. He's got a matter of days, it seems like, maybe weeks, as we just started oxygen, and he has stage 4 cancer and has been so strong throughout this whole process. But Every day he's losing weight, and he's losing weight about every 3 days. He's losing a pound right now. And at 97 pounds, he's very frail. And so, there's sometimes when that emotion of losing a loved one is so great. And I just need to vent this. And I just need to get it out. And you want to call somebody and say, can I just vent? Can I just dump on you? And they sometimes get a little, I don't know what to say. And I don't want you to say anything. Just be on the other side of the phone and just go, every so often. Just go,
Yeah.
Or just let me hear you breathing. I just want to know that I've been heard, because I want to get this out. I want to vent these emotions. I want to vent these feelings. I walk the dog and I vent these feelings, and I'm talking to nature and the birds, but sometimes I don't know if they're hearing me,
Yeah.
And it's just something wonderful if those birds and those trees and the deer around me would just simply say, I heard you. Hey, yeah, I got you. I'm there with you. I know what you're going through. That's all. So sometimes it's just beautiful to have someone there just to say, I've heard you. And in life, what really helps us as we're dealing with our individual issues around some division or challenge we have in a relationship, sometimes we just want our side to be heard, right? But we go to that person and they're not ready. I'm not talking to you. I don't want to hear anything. I'm not going to deal with you. And we think, I need a mediator, I need something. So by writing these things out, writing the highest and best, one thing is you're going to be feeling as if your words have been received. This gives you greater release of the concern, of the issue that you're dealing with. So what you may be writing about, and you're having a difficult problem with John Doe, and you're writing about John Doe's highest and best. So you're releasing these frustrations you've had. I don't understand why John is not picking up the phone and calling and asking for forgiveness. I don't understand why John Doe doesn't, hear my words. And I don't understand why John Doe isn't trying to build this relationship bridge. I'm working so hard to build it, and he's not doing his part. And we may go on and on. So we start scripting or writing out our concerns that I see John being healed and whole from all kinds of blockages, or any blockage that may be there that's hindering the success of this relationship. I'm writing out, and as I'm doing this, I'm releasing more and more of the concern, knowing that what I'm speaking and writing is from a positive perspective of my desire, of my prayer, of my wish for him and this relationship, and I'm speaking it out in written word, shall we say. You're speaking love then when you do this, which is a higher vibration. And that passes any blockage. It's just wonderful. Vibration can release and shatter any kind of blockages. Have you ever encountered a soprano who can sing a high-pitched note and shatter a glass? Well, that's the vibration of the pitch of her voice. That vibration frequency goes out at such a high rate, it shatters the glass. So it is when we begin to start expressing love and writing from a loving terms. What you're going to find is that you are now moving into a higher vibration, which is going to pass or break down or shatter any blockage. And you are treating for the highest and best in this process. You are releasing love, which is a high vibration, and that's a blessing for you. And what you are releasing is a blessing for the other person. So in this whole scenario, it is a win-win. It's a success-oriented method of healing and building up relationships. The author has offered numerous illustrations in the book, in these chapters, of people who've had difficulty relationships, particularly great examples of marriages that have been healed. As one party began to write and write out a healing, a treatment, a blessing for that person, and seeing, I declare that the angel of love, or the angel of harmony, or the angel of understanding, or an angel of compassion, or an angel of prosperity, whatever it may be that is the need that you're addressing, is now at work and is releasing all understanding and guidance and truth upon John Doe or Susan Jones or whoever the person is that you're dealing with. Does that make sense? Everybody with me? Okay. What we want to understand is the power of written word, because in all cultures, there's been a teaching that says our word has power. Do you believe that? I hope you understand that. Your word has power. You know, how many times have we experienced it in life? Maybe we encountered someone in our maturing years and our growing up experiences where someone said, "You're stupid." And those words were powerful. And unfortunately, you took them in and you believed that you were stupid. Or someone saying, "You are amazing." And you took those words to heart. And you lived from that perspective that everything you did, you said, "I know that I am amazing. And there's nothing that I cannot do." You see, words have power. Years ago, I, in my relationship journeys of life, have always been around someone who could cook. And they'd always turn to me and go, "You are not a cook." Well, I believed I wasn't a cook. And so I let them cook, which was fine with me. So down through the years, they always did the cooking for me. And then as time went by and Robert was no longer able to cook, I was like, wait. I have to cook for myself. And I've been told I am not a cook. How am I going to do this? And I thought this would be just, the greatest thing in my life to overcome is the inability that I'm not a cook. And then one of these days I said, wait a minute, who told me I'm not a cook? Well, these wonderful people in my life who were good cooks. And what were they actually saying? "I want to cook for you." That's what they were really saying. "Step out of the way and let me do what I want to do for you." That's all they meant. They didn't mean that you don't have the skill, or you can't read a recipe, or that you can't figure this out, or you don't know how to boil water. I figured that out. All these kind of things. Well, suddenly I realized, where did that come from? And I began to change because those words had power, and power that made me believe a certain thing. But then I began to speak words differently. I am a cook. Call me Chef Boyardee. Here I am. I can open up a can. And before you know it, I could read a recipe. And before you know it, I can make something up. And before you know it, I could write my own recipes and make my own adaptations with different flavors and seasonings. And before you know it, I'm enjoying cooking. So I've been cooking for our classmates in some past experiences. And I'm glad to tell you that they're all still alive. And so, I am a cook. I can claim that. So be careful. Let us always remember that our word has power. And in many cultures down through the time and down through the ages, they believe that if a word was written, it should never be destroyed. Don't destroy any note, any word, any book, any written letter, even though it's no longer, shall we say, of value or importance right now. Don't destroy it because it was the word. It was word that went forward. It was word that brought about results. It was word that had an impact in our life. In fact, the Chinese and even the Greeks, for example, believed that the words were filled with cosmic power to build or to destroy. That a spoken word could actually be so destructive, or a spoken word could actually reinforce, build up. Now, we certainly know that in our own individual lives, but how about in the physical world? To speak something and to manifest, to build up success, to build up prosperity, to build up abundance, to build up all kinds of blessing in your life, or to speak words that might destroy your whole income, your prosperity, to destroy your life. And words such as, "I'm a failure," "I live in lack," "I don't have enough," "I can't afford this," "It's not possible." Those words are extremely destructive, and they destroy us on so many levels, not just emotionally, but also can destroy a lot of the physical aspects of the world around us. So we find in Proverbs chapter 15, verse 1 of the ancient truth of scriptures that says, "A soft answer turns away wrath, but grievous words will stir up anger." Again, echoing that words have power to build up, to soothe, to heal, or to destroy, to stir up more anger, to be even more destructive. Our words have power. In Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29, in the New Testament, we find this teaching: let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good. But only speak that which is good, to the use of edifying, building up, meaning edifying something, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. Grace, that unmerited favor that you give to each and every one, that sort of unconditional love. For grace is that compassion, that understanding that says, even though you may not have earned it, I give it anyway to you. I am gracious. And grace is something we're all called to give away. Give grace. And how do we do that? By offering no corrupt communication, no words that would be destructive coming out of our mouth, but only words that are edifying and building up and encouraging someone and encouraging some people, in wonderful ways. There's that old saying, if you haven't got anything good to say, come sit by me. And people would say that because they were so caught up in, we love gossip, we love tearing people down, we love negative things. Oh, how fun it is to be critical, how fun it is to tell somebody where they're wrong, and instead, how about the joy of taking someone who may have been wounded in life and building them up, restoring, healing their emotional strength, edifying them, and encouraging them. So let us understand that in this process, changes are going to happen first in us. And where does all change? Where does everything begin? It begins right here. Every Sunday we sing, yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with everybody else. No, it doesn't. We sing, it begins in me. Everything in life begins in you. That's where it starts. Everything you're experiencing, every condition you're going through, every relationship and its impact on your life, it all is going to begin in you. And you have the power to shape, to mold, to correct, to heal, to manifest, to touch, to facilitate edifying blessings in people's lives. You have the power, and it all begins in you first. And then what happens is changes begin to come into the circumstances of our life. Once they start here in us, then they begin to flow out and begin to impact the world around us. So when we make the change in our thinking to move into divine order, to move from anger, frustration, emotional feelings of jealousy and envy and on goes the list of stuff that's all negative and not counterproductive. When we move from that, we're moving into divine healing or divine thinking. When we move to that, there's a change that happens in us first. And once it happens in us, it flows out from us. It flows out. You can't give away anything in life that you don't have first. I'd like to give you all $1 million today. So thank you for coming to class. Everyone's getting $1 million. But you know what? I don't have $1 million to give to you. How can I give you $1 million when I don't have it first? But now I can say this. I have a great love for each and every one of you. And I'm sending you love. And I know that I have a lot of love to share. So knowing that I have this love, I freely give it because I know it begins in me. I'm not looking for someone to give me love that I can pass on to you. I don't say, Lynn, if you just love me more, I could love Ann more. But I need some love from you first before I can give to her. I just want to transfer love from you to her and just transfer love from Brenda to Elise, and I want to take from Elise and I want to give to Steve. But no, it all has to come in me and through me. So when I stop and acknowledge first and foremost, this is what I have. I have love to give, love to share. Everything begins within me, and the change begins first and foremost in my life, and then the change that happens in me creates a change in the world around us. So what we find is this example is a great, shall we say, example of scripting. Scripting where you might write out your day, write out your vision, write out what you see is happening. Well, this is what you would do maybe for that person. I am writing out the healing scenario. I am writing a word of blessing. I'm speaking to that person's higher self. I'm speaking to the angel with these angelic words, this message from the divine of healing, of wholeness, of prosperity, and of blessing. So write to someone's angel or your angel, you can do this for yourself, of prosperity, protection, healing, success, relationships, or an angel of wisdom, guidance, growth, or understanding. On goes the list. Begin to write to your higher self or to the higher self of someone else. I want to really emphasize this as a great tool for parents who are working with children and teenagers who have been going through some difficult times in their teen years. And as a parent, sometimes you're so frustrated and you just want to give up. I want you to write to your beloved, your child's higher self, and begin to write out and express these feelings of blessing for your child and of great love and of prosperity that just are there to bring about healing and understanding. And that maybe write to your own angel of higher self about, I see myself having greater understanding and wisdom as a parent to be even more loving, compassionate, and understanding of what my child's going through. Let's move on to the stage 2, or the next chapter, Special Methods of Love, stage 2. Now, what we find is that Catherine Ponder has been writing all about the power of words. And I want to let you know this is so scriptural. This is so biblical. This is not some metaphysical woo-woo, new age thing. It's very embedded in ancient truth and process for our spiritual journey, because we have great examples of this. In the book of Revelation, John, the author of the book of Revelation, speaks of writing to the angels of the 7 churches. Look this up. You can find it in Revelation chapter 1, verses 19 and 20 is a great example. As you look straight from the scriptures, the ancient wisdom of the Bible, that the word church most often symbolizes spiritual consciousness. And we're thinking, oh, wait a minute, wasn't John writing to physical churches? A wonderful congregation over here? A group of people? Wasn't he writing that? Oh, wait a minute. Remember, everything in the Bible, we want to take it so literally. We make a mistake when we do. It's filled with metaphor and symbolism for our lives. That's the way ancient writers wrote. We keep looking at the Bible from biblical literalisms, from fundamentals. We want to look at it in such a black and white way of looking at it, that every word must mean this, must be taken as face value. We don't understand the metaphor or symbolism that's written through in this beautiful book of Revelation. The word church, then, symbolizing spiritual consciousness, then John is writing to the 7 churches that are symbolic of 7 types of people whom we can best reach spiritually by writing to their angels or to their higher selves in specific ways. So let's look at these 7 churches from the book of Revelation that are examples for us. So John writes to the angel, the higher self, to the angel of the church at Ephesus. Oh, wait a minute. You mean every church had its own angel? Then people want to get so literal. Oh my God. Back in the olden days, everybody had the church had an angel. Where's the church's angel? Where's City of Light's angel? Isn't there an angel here for us? It's a higher consciousness. It is a higher self. It is a spiritual consciousness. So to the higher self of Ephesus, John writes. Now the word Ephesus means desirous or appealing. You may know desirable or appealing people who are nevertheless really hard to reach. You know, they're stubborn. They're not listening. They may be distracted by a lot of material wealth. So you may see a person who kind of fits in this kind of mindset. You know, they're distracted because, I have everything in life. I've got money, fame, I've got good looks, I've got all these wonderful things. And you're trying to offer them some spiritual insight, or you're trying to help them on their spiritual journey, and they're not listening. They're distracted. Excuse me, I'm successful in life. Do you realize who I am? I have a name, I have fame, I have a big house, I drive a nice car, I have all these wonderful things. I'm just very creative, I'm smart, I'm highly educated. But what happens is they're stubborn and they're not listening to the words that you're trying to offer to help them. So John is writing to the higher self. So you might write to the higher self of that person, that personality type, who's distracted and not able to listen because they're feeling they're so self-sufficient. I don't need anything. I don't need your love. I don't need your words. I don't need to hear from you. You know, I'm just fine just the way I am. And we're trying to reach out to them when we know deep inside they're hurting, they're struggling, they're missing out on their highest and best. Whoops. Then we find that the next church, here's the second one, and to the angel of the church of Smyrna. Not Smyrna, Georgia. It is in the ancient New Testament lands. Smyrna means flowing substance, lovers of beauty, adornment. These people may be the type who are living beyond their means and usually have financial problems. So you've got a lot of people who are just constantly maybe material oriented and they're looking constantly and I need to live the good life, but I'm broke and I keep spending, shopping, trying to fulfill needs within our life and voids within our life with materialism. And what happens is they enjoy lovers of beauty maybe to an extent where they put themselves in financial hardships. So we write to the higher consciousness. We write to the higher self. We write to the angel of that beloved person. You know, maybe we have a spouse who's a spendthrift, you know, a spouse who's just spending all the money and trying to establish material satisfaction within their world and their life. And we write to that to find healing for the wound in their life that's causing them to just fill the void with just spending. Maybe a spouse who's addicted to gambling or addicted to, just has a shopping addiction, you know. We may have all these different types of people. These are just examples. The third one is, and to the angel, and mind you, these are the words from the book of Revelation. John's writing to the angel, to the higher self of the church, or the consciousness of Pergamum, I'm struggling with that word, which means really the definition of this is strongly united, closely knit. These are the grand and often wealthy, educated, artistic types. They may be closely knit. They're in cliques. You know, have you ever encountered those kind of cliques? Groups of people who likes attract likes and they all have the like kind of thinking and they're just in a clique and they're not good at welcoming strangers. They're not good at making new friends, or they don't really want to hear new ideas. We may find a lot of the people who want to say, wait a minute, I want the world all to look like me and my friends, you know? And someone new comes into the environment and they're like, excuse me, you don't look like me and you don't look like my friends. I'm suspicious of you. Why are you here? What are you doing? You know, in church growth and development, one of the worst things that we can do is where we become, as a small congregation, a family, and that word meaning a clique, meaning where we say, you know, well, we're so comfortable with everybody else, and who are you? And why are you here today on church on Sunday? Do you fit in our group? Because we're really comfortable with our clique. We're really comfortable with our group. And you're not part of our group, and you're bringing in new ideas, and you're a different kind of person. And I don't know if I really want to welcome you. And so that can be one of the great detriments in church growth and development. And so we do find this within our community as well, that there are people who are just struggling with welcoming strangers. You know, a lot of people in America say, you know what, America is America, and I only want Americans here. And I laugh because I want to say, well, what are Americans? Unless you are a Native American, all of us are immigrants. So, you know, all of us came from somewhere else in our lineage, unless you're a Native American. So someone opened up the door for us. How about we open the door for others? So, this is where, again, sometimes people are suspicious of strangers or new ideas and say, well, they may bring about a change. Something may happen. We might evolve. How are we letting in new things? Well, that's how we grow and evolve, and that's our calling. Number 4, and to the church, or to the angel of the church of Thyatira, which really means rushing or headlong, frantic, zealous, quarrelsome, easily offended. Have you encountered those people who are easily offended, who are quarrelsome, who just like to argue? You know, they're sort of headstrong. They got their own ideas in life, and they're just really not good compromisers. Well, we might want to write to the higher self, to the angel of that kind of person. Number 5, and to the angel of Sardis. Sardis means prince of power, or timid, apprehensive, always fearful about something. You know, have you met those people that are always afraid of everything? Be careful, be careful, be careful of this. Oh yeah, I'm afraid, I'm scared. I'm afraid of germs. I'm afraid of accidents. I'm afraid of driving. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid. Oh, don't touch that. I'm afraid of that. You know, we get people who just fear, you know. They're constantly afraid of everything. They're believing in this kind of fear. I had a father-in-law who was so fear-based around electricity that he wouldn't allow an electrical outlet in the bathroom. So he said, I just know someone's going to be blow-drying their hair and they're going to throw that blow-dryer in the bathtub and electrocute themselves. Well, you think someone's going to be blow-drying their hair while they're in the bathtub? Really? Or in the shower? Really? Well, that was his fear. He was so what happened is the family had to run an extension cord into the bathroom so they could blow dry their hair anyway, regardless, but he wouldn't allow the electrical outlet because he was so afraid. He lived in fear, and his fear was about almost everything. Everything was, be careful, I'm afraid of that. You shouldn't be doing this. That's something to be worried about. So we might want to then write to that kind of person's higher self and begin to help facilitate healing from fear. Speak and call forth the angel of guidance, of comfort, protection for that person. That might help them to let go of these kind of anxieties. And the 6th one is, and to the angel of the church of Philadelphia. Philadelphia means brotherly love, or fraternal love, universal love. People of this type talk about brotherhood of man, but to them, love means outer works alone, and there's no real inner consciousness of love. So there's a lot of people who talk about works of love, but don't really love, don't really understand what love is all about, you know? And so quite often, maybe even their works are just, shall we say, make them feel good, but aren't really works that come from deep within a passion, a connection, or a compassion for the scenario, the situation that they're working. You know, do you ever have those kind of people like, you know, that sounds really nice. Here, let me just write a check. And can you leave me alone? You know, and you might say, oh, I'm all about brotherly love. Yes, let's help those homeless. But I'm not getting down there and I'm not going to feed those people. I'm not going to interact with those people. They're dirty. I mean, they've been out all week long without a shower, and they could smell. Lord knows what germs they carry. You know, that kind of attitude some people have. Here, let me just write a check, and you go ahead and do what you need to do, but I really don't want to be connected. You see, there can be this kind of personality where there's a disconnect in this brotherly love, this so-called love. It becomes a love of the surface, not really a love that demonstrates from the heart a real commitment and compassion. I'm not knocking people who may have schedules that are too busy, they can't just write a check. Go ahead and write that check, we'll take it anyway. But knowing that sometimes we can't always volunteer, but I want to make sure that we're talking about people who have a disconnect in their consciousness of love. They're disconnected and not really connected in a way that really comes from the heart. Now, number 7, to the angel of the church of Laodicea. Laodicea means justice or judgment. People of this type really often have injustice complex. They're unsettled, they're wanderers, they're seeking new doctrines and new places, they're restless, they're critical. They usually have been wronged or misused. And they're joiners who do not remain with anything long enough to discover whether it has any benefit for them or not. You know, Now, down through my years, 42 years as a pastor, I'll say that almost in every congregation, there's people who will come in. Oh, I've come to this church and I'm expecting this church to do everything for me and it's just wonderful. And I came the first Sunday, you didn't shake my hand and you didn't say hello. And I didn't see the pastor didn't sing my favorite hymn. And they weren't, playing the songs. That music isn't right. The beat was just way too much. And I don't like drums in the church. And before you know it, I came here to be loved and there's no love here. And, wait a minute. Did you even give yourself time to experience? Did you give yourself time to really open yourself life up to what might be available to you there? They don't stay long enough to discover whether there's a benefit for them in the experience or not. So they come expecting everything because they're feeling injustice. I'm coming and I'm expecting everyone to meet my needs right there. And then they leave very quickly. So they come, they go, and they're always going to be in this, shall we say, wandering mode where they're unsettled and they can't find a place to really grow and flourish. And so they just become hopping from one place to the next. Have you heard those church hoppers? They go from one church to the next. One Sunday they're here, next Sunday there, next Sunday they're over here. They go over to this church and that church, and before you know it, they never have found any kind of spiritual growth and development because everywhere they go, they're just saying, my needs aren't met. And they're really coming from a perspective of feeling some sort of injustice complex that says, I'm feeling like I've been wronged in life. And then they come to some place and and you're going to wrong me too. Because I've been wronged once, I know you'll wrong me too. I've been hurt, I've been abused, I've been misused in some church, and I know I'm going to come here and I'll probably experience the same thing here too. Again, that what you're holding in mind produces in like kind. And when you believe you're going to have a bad experience, well, hello, according to as you believe, you shall receive. So, this is where, again, they're writing to this kind of person, and we might then take time, if we're dealing with this personality type, to write a loving letter to the angel, to the higher self of that person, to that consciousness, and writing it out and just expressing some healing energy and healing thoughts. Doing, shall we say, even treatment for these people's lives. Treating that which is their wounds, their hurts, the vacancies, the empty places within their life, the hurts, the voids. We want to address all of that. Now, don't forget, write to your own angel. The word angel really means messenger from God. We can't emphasize this enough. And the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary explains that the office of angel is to guard and to guide and to direct the natural forces of mind and body, which have the future of the whole man. So what we want to understand is that this wonderful thought energy, this wonderful messenger from the divine source of infinite wisdom is here to guide you, to guard you, to direct you. So open your life up to amazing direction, guidance. I tell you, it's really wonderful to go on vacation and have a guided tour. It's really wonderful because the guide knows all the wonderful, unique places. Now, I've traveled around the world, and my early experiences were hit or miss, where you'd go to some wonderful destination, and you'd arrive at the city and you think, okay, well, I'm going to try to get a feeling for this. I'm going to try to get, what's the touristy things? What should I see? Where should I go? And because you have no guide, you're just kind of hit or miss, and you walked away from that city or that experience, and people say, how was it? Well, it was okay. Then maybe you go back and you hire a guide. And years ago, when I backpacked around the world, there was a wonderful guide, $10 a day. Okay, that just dated me as we think back how old that would be. But as I walked through Paris, I had a guide that said, opened up the book and said, as you arrive at the central train station, turn left and go about 4 blocks and you will see such and such. You can take a train there and you'll go to the Eiffel Tower. You're going to go to the Champs-Élysées. You're going to experience the Notre Dame. You're going to find wonderful hotels at Saint Michel. All these wonderful experiences I had a guidebook. I opened myself up to guidance and direction. And my experience was so much better. Let me tell you this. In the journey of your life, there's angels, God thoughts, messengers, messages from the divine that are here to guide you every day through your experience, to lead you, to direct you, to help you, and to guard you from any ill, if you'll allow that to happen in your life. So I encourage you to write to your own messenger, to your own angel, and just really write out script what you'd like to feel, experience, what you'd like to have happening in your life, and welcome these wonderful words of direction for you, and realize that as you are writing, Spirit's going to be speaking through you, and you will know and receive. Get that pen ready, because as you're writing, you're going to be guided with all kinds of amazing thoughts that are coming to you. Now remember, never expect your angel of yourself or another to really respond in hurt or harm. So don't be requesting that. You can't be saying to these angels, because angel, go out and harm someone. Angel, go and get them. Angel, demonstrate revenge on such and such. Angel, give them a good slap up and wake up call, Well, sometimes we like that. Remember, angels, what is an angel? Is this wonderful message from the divine. The divine is love. So an angel's not going to be there to bring harm in any way whatsoever to you or to anyone else. So we can't expect that to happen within our lives. Psalm 91 verses 10 through 11 says, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plagues, plagues, meaning pandemic, meaning COVID-19, neither shall any COVID-19 come nigh into thy dwelling, for he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. No evil, no harm, no error is going to come to you. Neither shall harm happen within our lives that we have to be afraid of or fearful of. Nothing's coming to our house, our dwelling, for the angels have charge. So that means the God thoughts, the divine impressions, the righteous thinking, the thinking that's in order with the divine has charge over you, and you will make wise decisions. You'll think, mask or no mask? And the angel will say, honey, wise decision, put the mask on. Oh, okay. It's guiding you, helping you through the COVID-19 pandemic, so there is no harm that comes to you. There is wisdom that's going to guide you through every questioning experience you have in your life. It's going to help you to always live out your highest and best, and to keep you in all of your ways. Keeping you, meaning guiding you, keeping you in that wonderful pathway of safety and well-being, keeping you healthy, whole, and complete at all times. Let me tell you this. Your life can be as wonderful as you want it to be. We've heard that statement in previous classes. Your life can be as wonderful as you want it to be. So how wonderful do you want your life to be? Start writing to your angel, writing to your higher self, writing and allowing that direction to keep you in all your ways. Thank you so much for joining us for this class today. I hope you really enjoyed it. It's been very insightful as we really understand the power of love and how it can be put into action in our life in a very tangible way through this wonderful scripting, or this method of writing out and really speaking the highest and best. That is a healing word that goes forth and never, never returns void. So if you've enjoyed this class and there's something that spoke to you, I'd love to hear from you. So for those of you who are joining us through our live streaming, I really would appreciate if you take a moment to just write out really a phrase or two of what stuck with you today, what really hit you, what will you walk away with? If someone were to stop you on the street and say, well, you've been attending this class, what'd you get out of it? What would you say? What's your takeaway? We'd love to hear from you. And while we're waiting to hear from you, well, we're going to go around our classroom and hear from our students today as to what spoke to them, what's their takeaway from this class experience. And we hope that you'll all be able to hear them. We invite our students to step up a little bit closer, stand behind the camera, and the camera is the microphone. They'll pick up your voice so that everyone can hear what your fabulous takeaway is. Who'd like to go first? All right, Brenda.
I really enjoyed the part about Revelations, because I never understood that the words were describing people. You know, because I grew up in a fundamentalist church,
Right.
And that we didn't get any of that. So that was very interesting. And then our word has power to build or destroy. And I wish I had known that when I was a lot younger.
Amen. Good wisdom. Wish we all had known that, right? I would have loved to build up a few more people, and rather than, I apologize for some words that have been kind of destructive. Yeah. Lynn, tell us what your class, what you received.
What really struck me was that true words are angels. That I've never considered that concept. But before they become words, they're thoughts. And not to get stuck up in what stinking thinking and let it take you down. And that, of course, being in Joyce's class, we're scripting all the time, and
Right.
it works. It does work. You're right.
Amen. Wonderful. Good. Anne, what's your takeaway from today's experience?
Well, being visual, when you were talking about truth and light and angels, I thought of Publix. When you walk up close to the freezer department, the light goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And I never thought about bringing my light in that way before. I love it when I can get visuals to describe things. I just love all of this. Scripting to the other person's higher self or angel. And I do believe I have an angel, and it's a protective angel. And I like how you bring this in, guide and direct the natural forces of mind and body, because that relates back to healing for me, and that's sort of my focus. And to ask the angels to show me the natural forces, not to push or have my own way, but to see the natural way of healing my whole body and mind together as one.
Beautiful. Elise?
I liked just that you can write to a person's higher self. I've not talked to my brother in over a year, and I have prayed about it in my mind, but I like what you said, that you said, and I wrote this down, that he would be free from any hindrance to our relationship. And so I thought that was good words, and also writing the healing and the blessing that I want for him. And I just like that I can write to him and be heard, because I have actually tried calling him, and it's not been good. So yeah, I like that you can write to the person's higher.
Amen. Beautiful. Steve, what's your takeaway?
Again, a lot of good stuff, but I'll be brief. I will say that if you have a soul, you have love. If you are a soul, you are love. But if you want to actually see love in your life, you have to give what you already have. You have to give your love, make your love manifest, and then you will see the manifestation of love from others. And it has to be with the one step of you have to love yourself first. Not only yourself, but just love yourself first. That way you will be able to see love from others. You will be able to love others when you first love yourself. If you don't love yourself first, then you're coming from a position of neediness, where I can't love myself, therefore I need you to do it for me. I need you to love me. And you're not going to get genuine love for anybody from by doing that. You'll invite manipulators, you'll invite people to use you and abuse you. And those that really will love you, you're pushed away by doing that. Love yourself first, and the love will come from others. That's genuine.
Beautiful. All right, preach it, Steve. When you've loved yourself first, then no matter what someone says to you, it doesn't matter, because you already know you, and you already love you. So someone can call you a faggot, someone can call you a drug, call you fat, call you whatever, call you a horrible person, but you already know who you are. Remember, that's their opinion, but you've already loved yourself and understand who you are. So it becomes this great, shall we say, deflector. Yes.
So if somebody tries to tell you what to do, and I can think of a political example, but I'm not going to talk about that. But if you know yourself, if you love yourself, and you know better than what someone else is telling you to do for yourself, you do what you feel is right.
Right.
And if it doesn't turn out, then maybe they had a grain of truth in what they said, but it's for our experience to grow in that way. Right.
The Spirit of God can speak to you just as much as the Spirit of God to speak to someone else.
Yeah.
So, years ago, there was an evangelist in the fundamentalist community who was going around, and he would tell people about their life and what they should be doing. And, you need to marry him, and you two need to get together, or that kind of thing, was, and say, oh, well, we heard from God, and the minister said, we need to get married. Well, they got married, and they ended up in a divorce 10 months later, because what were we thinking? We don't even love each other. But God must have said through the minister. Well, wait a minute. Someone sat him down and said, let me tell you this. If God can talk to the minister, God can talk to you.
Right.
So if you don't feel it's right to get married, why are you listening to the minister who says it's time right for you to get married? Have some common sense. Allow the angel of divine wisdom to speak to you rather than letting some so-called religious authority decide everything for you. You have to decide for yourself. All right.
Love yourself first.
Love yourself first. Beautiful. Great words, Steve. Wonderful takeaway. Thank you. All right. Let's hear from Dr. David Jonathan Carter.
My takeaway is the method for getting my thinking into divine order by writing to my higher self. I love that.
David's takeaway is his method for getting his thinking into divine right order is to writing to his higher self. Beautiful. Excellent. Now, do we have takeaways from any students who've been viewing us?
Crystal Sanders.
Crystal, great to see you.
This is my angels. Oh, how I love them.
Wonderful. Beautiful. Great. Anybody else? That's it for today? Wonderful. Well, if you've been following along in our class series, and I want to remind you once again that if you don't have the notes for the class, please reach out to me at revtpaul@aol.com. We'll make sure that our registrar, Dr. David Jonathan Carter, gets these notes out to you prior to every class setting so that you can follow along with us and you don't miss out on anything. So just know that the notes are available. Just let us know, and we'll make sure that you're included in the note distribution for each and every class. Thank you so much for joining with us today. It's been a delight to talk about the wonderful power of love, the prospering power, and how it works within our life for the highest and best. And we'll look forward to see you joining us with next week, 10:30 on Thursdays for the next series of chapters as we continue with class number 6. God bless you. And one last thing. If you've enjoyed this class, I want to remind you that you can make a donation. You've received something powerful, and as we receive, it's the value that we received, we want to give value back. So please know that you can go to our website at www.cityoflightatlanta.com. There's a donate button. You can offer a donation to the Emerson Institute for the class experience you've just enjoyed. We appreciate your expressions of gratitude and expressions of appreciation through this wonderful financial means. We are grateful for it, for your empowering the work of Emerson Institute at City of Light. God bless you. I'll see you next week.